Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about The Beekeeper. So this is the first 2024 movie I saw. I kind of saw it because I like schlocky, silly action movies. I like kind of schlocky January movies. I know everyone makes those jokes like, fuck you, it's January. But sometimes there's like good versions of B movies out there, and The Beekeeper is, I guess, the better version of a kind of B action film. It very much plays like the kind of a better version of kind of a crappy January movie, where it's like a schlocky action movie with a cool hook and a fun kind of action star, and they go through stuff and shoot a bunch of people, and you have a good enough time while you're watching it. And I think The Beekeeper exceeds in doing that. It's actually a fairly good version of what you'd want a Jason Statham movie to be. Now, is it, Crank or The First Transporter, Lock, Stock, or anything like that? No, not really. I mean, there are differences between like an Expendables movie, a Fast and Furious movie, of which Jason Statham is in, and this, but like this is fun. Like, he is a beekeeper, and like that's silly, but it turns out the beekeepers are a secret assassin force. And after his friend, who he is like sort of renting barn space from this lady who has this huge estate, she gets kind of in a phishing scam and gets all her money stolen, which does happen in real life. If she gets all of her money stolen completely, and then she is really upset and decides to kill herself. And then so Jason Statham decides to go after the people who did this to her, and sort of it goes from like he's going to destroy the phishing scam people, which that's cool. People who call you and bother you at home and say like, oh, we're from a car insurance company. You haven't paid your car insurance. I'm like, I don't even own a car. What are you talking about? And that's annoying. And like, fine, an action movie that's just going after the people who bother you on the phone and stuff, we're already good there. But this movie starts there, and I'm not even joking. This isn't a joke thing. Ends with him attacking the president. That is I don't know how to explain how it goes there, and it's pretty clear it's going to go somewhere there pretty early on, and like it totally builds in this way that you accept this whole thing. But it is wild to go from that and to this, and seeing this crazy B circumstances of ways they figured out go from a phishing scam with this lady rents a barn from, or Felicia Rashad, to him like basically taking down some of the most important people in the government. But if anyone can do it, it's Jason Statham. I think you can't take this movie seriously, nor does it want you to. And oftentimes it feels like Jason Statham, like I've seen other Jason Statham movies, they're just starring him, and it's usually like he's, being the action hero and stuff. But this, it almost feels like while they're attacking, he's like, I'm the beekeeper. He's just like so committed to this bit. It almost feels like ridiculous. But because it's a schlocky action thing, as silly as it is, he has to commit to the bit. And he's like so committed. Like, I actually think it's like sort of a good performance in a shit movie, because he's like so committed to this beekeeper thing. Even if people are being ridiculous, he's like, I'm the beekeeper, we're going to kill the hive, like some bee thing. I don't know. No B movie jokes, which was disappointing. I wanted him to kill someone and then start reciting the B movie script. I thought that would have been funny. It's always funny when someone just suddenly cuts to someone reading off the opening script of the B movie. According to all laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Their wings are too small to get its fast little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway. Alright, take 10, everybody. Wrap it up, guys. I had virtually no rehearsal for that. I had a lot of fun with this film, and it kind of gets, I don't want to say full Venture Brothers in some cases, but gets like close to that level of ridiculous. There's like a Scottish Irish guy towards the end who I was like, well, we're going like, this guy's like full on. Like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like John Wick is like always, everything's cartoony, almost everyone's an assassin, and this is like, there's certain people who are, when they show up, they're ridiculous. And like, obviously, yes, this is probably written in a certain perspective to be like John Wick. I don't think it is. I think the director of this, who's David Ayer, which is a little surprising. I know he's been on doing Netflix stuff, and he directed Suicide Squad and Sabotage and End of Watch. But watching this, it felt like his most for hire work. Like, none of the action sequences were particularly well shot. They're sort of shot averagely, which I expected a little bit more from him. There's not much style to it. Like, anyone could have directed this. Like, he could have just be called Alan Smithy if you could never figure it out, because how the fuck could you? Like, there's nothing there, and I'm a little surprised by that from him. I thought, honestly, he could do better. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I thought there was normally a little more style. This just feels like a quick, Jason Statham movie with a cool hook. And it is a cool hook, and I was watching, was like, this is really ridiculous. Like, he's punching people, he's being the beekeeper. There's parts with the president's son that make me think there might be echoes to Hunter Biden, and it makes me uncomfortable, but I ignore it. It has everything. I don't know, you have people like Josh Hutcherson sort of just being this obnoxious rich kid tech CEO. You have Jeremy Irons trying to get a paycheck. You have like Minnie Driver as the head of the FBI. It's like, it's kind of overcast in a way, but it sort of works because the beekeeper is just so mixing around from stuff. And I mean, obviously Statham sort of steals the show, but kind of interesting because I was thinking, like, a lot of these films that try to preach social commentary in them, I think the Beekeeper sort of does it a little better in terms of like showing like how society set up for these people to be scammed, and I don't think it actually goes up to the highest level. I think that's silly, but I think like they're still allowing those sort of things to happen, and him be the sort of beekeeper. I mean, I think John Wick is very like superhero movie adjacent. I mean, it's basically like a comic book thing, and the Beekeeper feels like that too. He's going after what's hurting the average man. It's not fair because she was such a good teacher, and they destroyed her just for fun, just so they can get yucks and money and stuff. And him going after them to exact his revenge, especially when people are struggling and getting harassed and trying to get scammed all the time. Someone who's like, I'm going to go against the scammers, is very fun to watch and cathartic and stuff. I wish it was shot better. I wish David Ayer went into the ridiculous much more. It just isn't there as much. I think that's kind of the ultimate like real disappointing thing with it is it is still ridiculous. And if I explain the plot to people, they'd be like, what the hell? Like that sounds fun. And it is. And it is the kind of movie you'd want to. I just wish the journey to get there was as exciting as it is for me to describe it to people, because it's just so fucking nuts a lot of the time, but it's like really good at it, and it's like kind of a steady hand going through this nuts thing. Had that filmmaking being more stylized, it might have felt too crazy, whereas this sort of like hampers itself down. Maybe that was like the point of David Ayer's direction. Maybe he's just not very good. You decide. This is a solid like January movie. It's not all fuck you, it's January. If you like B genre stuff, there are usually one or two that are actually like pretty decent, that get a little more of room to shine. I kind of hope this one does. This is like a fun idea. It could be a fun franchise and stuff, and bees seem nice as long as they don't get on me. I'm a little scared of them, but like the whole idea of the Beekeeper, although why he's a beekeeper and he's an assassin who's called the Beekeeper, like they don't really explain like the connection there, which I thought that's the one thing. The more I thought about it, I was like, so did they like, he was just like, oh, I know a lot about bees because of our power structure, or do they insist they become beekeepers? Like, they don't really, that I would like to know. But I think the Beekeeper is the kind of schlocky, ridiculous action thing that, is something Hollywood still makes and makes in January. And this was kind of like a very net positive, fuck you, it's January movie, a net positive B movie. All the punniness and ridiculousness of what you'd expect from this is on display and ready to be watched and ready to be enjoyed. And it's like, it's a cold beer kind of a movie. Like, you drink your cold beer, you finish it, you feel a little drunk, then you go to bed. The Beekeeper is here to do that. It comes in, stings you, and then just dies somewhere. I don't know much about bees. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But the Beekeeper is going to deliver exactly what you want, and probably a bit more, because you'll be like, hey, is that person? What's that guy doing there? Wait, Jeremy Irons, can you do better than this? I think it gives you enough where it'll be like slightly at least memorable and fun to talk about, or at least like to be a little surprised by stunt casting and stuff. That I think if you like Statham and you like this kind of thing and what I'm talking about excites you, see the Beekeeper absolutely. If you're not into this, it's not really even trying to be for everyone. It's just for the people who like this kind of B action schlock. Kind of exactly what you wanted and exactly what you want from a kind of January kind of bad movie. It's perfect in its badness and ready to be digested at a time you really need it. And I guess the Beekeeper always knows when the right time to strike is. And fortunately for all of us, it's right now. So if you've seen The Beekeeper and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. All right, take 10, everybody. Wrap it up, guys. I had virtually no rehearsal for that. Let it go, Kenny.